Hey guys, we're back again, and I'm here with Amy. Amy is very active in the Oklahoma music scene. She is the significant other of Steve Parnell of Shotgun Rebellion. She helps the band with various aspects of what they do. As far as booking merch, you can almost always find her at the merch table at the shows. She also makes some custom jewelry. Tell me a little bit about your custom jewelry and how you came about making it.
Well, 80s rocker chick, we had 80s grew up with the best music. And I got back, Steve and I, he was my first crush. And then we started back together several years ago. I started going to shows with him. And I wanted to wear rocker stuff like we did when we were kids. We had the coolest jewelry, and there wasn't any. So I decided to make my own. And I would wear guitar pick earrings and stuff I make with his old guitar strings, and I would wear them to the show. And people go, "Where'd you buy that?" And I said, "I didn't. I made it." And they were like, "Well, I want some." And they would buy what I was wearing, the bracelets, the earrings, etc. They would buy them. And so I said, Steve goes, "Well, you need to make some more." So I made more. And then I was like, "Hey, can I put some of my stuff on the merch table?" And of course, the guys are great. And they're like, "Sure, bring your stuff." Because shiny sparkly, the girls love shiny sparkly, so we get more girls. So we get the girls to come hang out. And now it's just evolved into its own thing. I have a page called Rocker Chic Bling where you can see pictures. Most all my stuff is one of a kind. So if you get it, nobody else is gonna have it. There's a few that everybody asks for, and I made something. If I can make it again, I will. So we have fun, and I just hang out with the fellas.
If somebody has an idea in their mind of a piece of jewelry that they would like made, are you able to take that idea and try to make
I will do my very best. I've made several custom pieces. I've got some girls that come just to see me. We hang out. But yeah, if I can make it, I will. If you got an idea, or if you got something that was your favorite and it broke, I'll give it new life. I can take some vintage stuff. I can take your favorite stuff. If you have a bracelet that broke, let me see what I can do with it. Bring it to me. I'll try. Sometimes I get busy and it takes me a little bit, but you'd be surprised what I can turn up.
Oh no, I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen a lot of it, but I think some of the people viewing would be surprised.
Yeah.
Some of the people that haven't seen.
I try to post cool pictures and keep up with it. So if you see it and you like it, it's not hard to be gone, but we can try.
And she made me these awesome earrings. I used to have a choker she made a long ways back, but unfortunately it broke and too many pieces were lost to put it back together. I think I ended up with having less than 8 beads.
Well, that was a vintage crucifix from maybe the 60s, but I will keep looking, and I will try to make one just as close to it as I can. I promise. I'm gonna try to make you another one.
I would love to have another one. That was my favorite. I literally wore it out.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good that you loved it. So.
I loved it, and I wore it everywhere. She also made this piece of art that's up here on my wall, which is really amazing. Here, let me get that down so that I can show them.
My hobbies.
Check this. Isn't that awesome?
Skulls and roses.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I hope you like it.
Oh, I love it. So she's definitely very creative, and it's not just limited to her jewelry. She made that piece of art. She definitely does some adjustments to different clothing items, and it's an amazing.
I like to cut up t-shirts. Yeah, I make all, and I do make all of. I make guys bling too. I make plenty of. I do leather work, so I make the leather cuffs and everything that's popular now. You can always find some of those with me. I'm going to have a lot at April 5th at Oklahoma City Limits. The Shotgun Rebellion is having a CD release party, and they said I could bring a table full of stuff. So come on out. I'm going to bring a lot of bling April 5th.
I know you make a lot of the customized stuff that they wear. Or that Steve wears, at least.
I got some bracelets. And
I know a lot of people look for customized clothing items, especially the musicians in the industry. If somebody hit you up with an idea, are you willing to work with it and see if you can make what they needed?
I will try. And sometimes, if I can get like this T-shirt. I did this because I like it. My stuff is unique. If I can make your vision come true, I will try. We will work out something. If I can create it, I will.
That would be awesome. So if you need custom jewelry, you need custom clothing, or you just want a crazy piece of art, well, I don't know that it's crazy. That's gorgeous. If you want a gorgeous piece of art, then Amy's your girl.
I will try.
We're gonna pull Steve in here now, and yes,
Yes,
I am.
come
Come party with us, Steve.
Come
we
sit with the
want
crazies.
to have a couch party with you.
Come sit with the crazies.
I've changed that. I'm not pajamas, but no.
Well, no, there's pajamas
we're
are fine.
not crazies. We're the insane asylum here.
We are.
You are awesome.
We're having fun. Steve,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Talk to me about Shotgun Rebellion. Y'all had a show. This was it Saturday night?
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. I would planned on going out, and I had told you I would be there.
You promised me.
I know.
You
And then,
promised me you were gonna come hang out.
and then my son got sick with the flu, and like
Like
2, 3 o'clock that morning, I got woke up with various illness issues, and ended up having to take him when the doctor's office opened up to the doctor, and they gave him a cream for his wrist because he was
Some
dying.
nausea medicine.
Yeah.
Vinegar.
And
Promethazine.
and then they gave him that, what's that called? Flumidine?
Mm.
It was
Tamiflu.
it's,
The generic Tamiflu.
yeah. But he's feeling better now, so I mean I'm really glad for that. He's definitely eating now and going, oh my god, I'm hungry. I'm like, yes. So, but I definitely missed that show. How did the show go, you guys? I mean, not to bring up any negative or positive, but I definitely got some negative mudslinging throwback, and I definitely
Did
got
you
some
hear
good.
Shotgun didn't play their show?
Yeah, I heard that y'all didn't play.
I know y'all.
I heard a lot of mudslinging type comments that seemed like some pointing fingers that I kind of put an end to and was like, shit happens. You really can't
You're right. You're right.
point a finger,
Just like
but
the reason you wasn't there, life happens. I mean, life. You didn't miss anything. Life was happening Saturday night. But it wasn't. Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of the blowback from Saturday night. It was Tony Proctor's birthday party.
Happy birthday, Tony.
happy birthday, Tony.
And we did a showcase with some of the top talent in Oklahoma City, of which that we were supposed to headline. And I know there was a packed house of people that came from all over the place, Texas and Arkansas and Kansas, Enid, everywhere in Oklahoma.
New Lima.
Yeah.
We had people from New Lima.
Yeah,
Hey.
there's a lot of people coming in, and they got to see some of the best talent in Oklahoma City. $5 Thrill and Archon and Driver.
Driver.
Yeah, Driver.
Sign of Life.
Sign of Lies. Yeah, thank God. Sign of Lies.
Love them boys.
Yeah, they turned out to be one of the heroes. Speaking of heroes, the real one, in my opinion, I know there's a lot of mudslinging and things going on like that, and I want to put that to rest. Take this opportunity for the public, put that to rest for everybody. But John Wise was, that dude. He always is a hero, but he really went above and beyond the other night. I'll give you I guess what I can do is start by giving you a summary of the happenings of the night, and then address
That would work
Explain
because
it.
I figured you might want to kind of, especially with all the mudslinging, maybe put
Right.
some of that to rest.
Well, just for whatever it's worth to everybody, I mean, the whole event started off, on a gimpy leg.
Well, there was some stuff when we got there.
Yeah, well, I was the second person that showed up out there, only behind the drummer, Johnny Walker. He was there first, and he met me at the door with a laundry list of of things that needed to be corrected before we could even get started. You know, I mean, Johnny was on it from the very beginning, and so it started off with a really started off with a well. Oklahoma City Limits, as you know, they have house sound and stuff like that. Let me back up a little bit. Maybe in the networking of event planners, there was some lack of communication. It happens. You know, I mean, it's hard to do.
I think lack of
especially
communication happens even outside of music.
Sure.
I mean,
well, yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, everybody was they got delegated their duties, and some of them fell by the wayside, not because anybody necessarily dropped the ball. It's not for me to say, because I wasn't a part of the whole structure. I mean, we were to show up and play the gig, and that was the extent of our involvement in it. But like right off the bat, they had some system issues. Nothing outside the realm of live music. I mean, this is just the way that kind of stuff happens. But where John Wise was real strong for me, and that was, we call him, and naturally, you're going to have to face the fact that nobody called him yesterday or the week before that. He wasn't included in.
He was frustrated.
Yeah, and those first things he came in to me going, I wish you would have told me yesterday. Even last week would have been nice. Yesterday, and it's like, well, John, I didn't even know we had these issues until 15 minutes ago. But instead of going, well, I wish I could help you. I mean, the dude just on the fly, because he had 2 systems out. He had 2 other events, big events that was going on that he was taken care of. And then at the last minute, when he's in the middle of doing all this, he acknowledges me and says, I'll help you solve this, which it wasn't any of our responsibility, but we were there earlier. We knew these guys would have some hurdles to overcome, and we were just trying to help get over that. So we went ahead and paid John. The band did. Shotgun Rebellion paid John, and he just on the fly, he just takes off, comes back less than 20 minutes with a van full of everything that he needed. Single-handedly sets it all up. He gets it going, and by the time the show was, the slots were supposed to
8 o'clock start time.
Yeah. By then,
explain slots to people that don't understand what a slot is.
Well, all a slot is just it's the way you organize your stage show, depending on how many bands you have, and versus how much time is division, really. How much time you have to do this. Say you got, well, in our case, we had 4 bands, and we had about, from 8 to 1:30, so 5.5 hours split up between 4 bands. So naturally, you're going to do about in the neighborhood of an hour on the stage, given anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes between bands instead of sets to switch out gear on stage. So however that math works out, well, if you have some hiccups and you get 20 minutes past your start time, there's 20 minutes taken out of your formula, which you have to readjust.
So that has to come off of somewhere.
Right. So, and it just snowballs from there.
You can't catch up that 20
Right,
minutes.
yeah,
Either.
it's time gone. It's time gone. So, the guys that were producing the event, they had that to contend with. And skip ahead, I guess, everybody plays their parts, and by the time the headliner slot was to open up, it was time was it's like 120, yeah. and then given the time to switch out.
Break out.
By bar time, might as well say we'd have had anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
Now, what's a bar time?
Well, bar time is, as anybody that goes to bar knows, it's what time the bar clock is. They like to run those about 15 minutes ahead of time, I'd say.
No drinks.
Yeah.
Out the door.
Yeah.
You gotta go home. You don't have to go home. You can't stay here.
Well, because it's the law. They have to be closed and empty by 2 o'clock. And if you got a crowd of people that's been drinking all night long, naturally it's going to be a whole lot easier to go, look, it's 1:30 when it's 1:15 or whatever.
Herding cats.
Start herding cats out the door, yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the way that works. It doesn't have anything to do with music business, but it does affect a live show in that way. So, given all that, we'd have had anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
So 2 songs?
Times. Maybe so, maybe not.
I mean, because the time Johnny got a big set, you guys wouldn't have much time.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying about Sign of Lies, thank God that they were there, was because they took the stage. They were willing to go on and burn the rest of the festival.
So nobody had to go without music.
Right, the event time, and make the agenda full. Without having to switch anything out. So they just kind of stepped in and took up the slack and while they were doing that, it give us time to explain to the people that had come from all over.
Why you weren't going to be
why
playing.
we weren't going to get to play. My biggest fear was that somebody would interpret that as, there was some fighting going on in the lineup or whatever, and these guys refused to do this, and these guys, it wasn't like that.
So no diva behavior?
No, not at all.
I've seen diva behavior.
Oh, maybe by me.
Well, you're not.
But,
No diva.
No, so I mean, I won't.
And it wasn't that bands were fighting with each other, because I mean, a lot of times when you see something like that, your first thing that people sling around, not slinging, is, well, there was a problem between these two.
They can't get along. They're fighting.
Yeah,
but
you always hear that kind of stuff.
And these guys, it was an event that progressed. It was just a domino effect that pushed all the way to the end of the whole effort. And I saw some people getting, bad. Yeah. Well, I saw the aftermath. I saw some people getting a bad rap out of the deal, and I just wanted to go on record and say that whole thing, the way it unfolded, whatever you want to call it, if you see anything as a failure, that was not one person's responsibility. Nobody. It didn't happen because of one, because somebody was screwed something up. Now, having said that, I will say this: out of all the things that happened throughout the night, I won't lie. Everything that I saw happen was completely avoidable. It was just, but you know how the atmosphere gets. Once the pressure's on like that, it's hard for everybody, that many people, to stay on the same page.
Yeah.
So you end up making a lot of effort in vain because it crosses over somebody else's progress, and that by itself will cause a lot of fighting behind the scenes. It didn't do that at all. These guys were just.
That is awesome.
They all acted as well as could be expected.
Okay, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So is this a case of, I'm going to quote my father, piss poor planning and constituted emergency? Yeah. Is that what happened? Because that's my daddy's quote. You're piss poor planning.
Yeah, it was. And again, not pointing the finger at anybody in particular. It wasn't.
I mean,
but one of the things, so you were saying in-house sound, that means that's supposed to be there when you get there.
Right. Well, that was just the first of many problems to come as the night progressed, but it was one of the big ones. The reason why it was so big was because if we hadn't solved that problem from the beginning, there wouldn't have been anything else.
So nobody would have played.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they did, you wouldn't have heard them without a sound.
And can't play with them.
It would have been
would have been hey, those guys are up there. You look good.
I have definitely, crazy as it sounds, and I'm not going to throw any names out there, but I've definitely seen a couple of shows where they didn't have a PA or they didn't have the sound, the in-house sound didn't show, and they played anyway, and you're like, they can't hear a dang word they're saying, but at least they're trying.
I might be going against the grain out of school for my own guys here, but in as recently as in the last year, we've been half a world away and brought mics. No mic course.
We've had to go to try to buy some. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I know that, I definitely,
I got.
seen
We're talking
a variety
to
of
people.
issues happen before.
I told we got some viewers, and I told them that we'd answer some questions.
Oh, sure.
Oh,
And the
what
one
do
of
you
them,
got?
Steve. Let's see. What is Steve saying? Steve says.
Hi, Steve Murdoch.
He goes, sounds like a stage manager dropped the ball. Timing is everything. I'm not a musician, Steve, but I think you're right. We have a musician. He's going to answer.
I think timing and communication are
you know.
everything.
All I can do is just put the information out there and let people make their own decisions. Now, I realize it wasn't necessary for me to do that because obviously in the last 24 hours that has already been going on. But I wanted everyone to not have any misinformation. I want them to be educated on what exactly happened. It's no big deal. It's just a show. It happens every day. There's thousands of them. But for some reason, well, I know the reason, but a band like Shotgun Rebellion, it gets out there. I mean, we've got a lot of fans and a lot of people.
I had a lot. We got calls. We got a lot of calls, and this way we're answering them all at once. Yeah. But I think Lisa Haynes is saying hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Misty and Amy. So hi, Lisa.
She didn't say hi.
Well,
never mind.
Lisa didn't talk.
Oh, it looks like Andy's there too. Hi, Andy. Hi, Maria.
Yeah, we got some people talking.
Like I said, that was definitely something that I wanted to be able to give you the opportunity to just speak out and clear some of it on, because I did do a lot of sharing and promoting for that show on my end, and I did get a lot of
Misty,
both directions of feedback.
I got the WTF, what happened to Amy from Misty, and I was like, Misty, I do my thing, but we did ambush Steve and make him answer these questions. So no, this is all Misty and Amy because I didn't understand, and I want everybody to know.
And this is Misty too, because I have a lot of people
and you got all these people asking, and we didn't know what to say.
There is a big enough of people asking about that, too big to ignore.
Yeah, and it needed to be addressed. And
and honestly, at the end of the night, there was no individual involved in that deserved to be shit on. Over.
Or persecuted.
So there was
accidents happen. Stuff goes wrong. I mean, the screws fall all the time.
We're human.
The world is an imperfect place.
Yeah, but there was some for a messed up event that happened. There was some heroes, and that's John Wise. Thank you so much.
For an event that didn't go right.
Yeah.
There was some heroes.
There were some people that really came through.
There was some heroes. If it hadn't been for John Wise, there would have been no show.
Absolutely.
Everybody would have drove to the event for no reason because no sound, no show.
Well, like I said,
and we had John
key players in that. There were some key players involved there that had it not been for them, it would have been a whole lot uglier.
Yeah, they definitely need recognition.
They certainly made it go off.
Stepping up above and beyond, and you guys paying the sound guy, bringing him in. That's definitely definitely stepping above and beyond.
These guys were here from the band got there. Johnny got there at 4. Steve got there at 4:20, and they stayed all night. They stayed until everybody was gone, and they hung out and they did whatever anybody needed. We chilled. We got to hang out with our fans. We got to meet some good people. We got to sell some T-shirts.
We had a big.
Okay, they still had merch sales, even though they didn't play.
No show, still sold merch.
Whose show can we set up a merch booth at?
We'll go to everybody's show and sell merch if you want.
We had a 6-hour meet and greet.
I had to make jokes. I'm sorry. You can cry about it, or you can get mad about it, or you can laugh about it.
You can call us and we'll set up merch for you.
You can do anything you want about it, but you can't change the fact that it's behind us now.
It's
already happened.
Yeah.
It's done.
Talk to me about what shows do you have coming up.
Oh, the big one. April 5th.
April 5th, we do have a CD release party. I think most Shotgun fans know now that we've got a new album coming out, first one in a while, and it is dragging its feet a little bit. I realize release date in the industry is.
I've heard a couple of things on
February,
that I'm not at liberty to say much
Well.
about, but you're gonna fucking love it.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. We really put a lot of effort into this, and we want our fans to know that you're saying it, we're listening, and it's not a matter of, we agree with you. So I'll put that out there just so you know that. And so April 5th, at the same venue at Oklahoma City Limits, and we decided to do Oklahoma City Limits instead of a circuit venue because it's more intimate. We're still hometown boys, no matter how far out this
You can
reaches.
take the boys out of the hometown, but you can't take the hometown out of the boys.
That's it. So this is where everything started all those years ago, and we're never going to take it out of here. So it'll be no matter how far it goes. This place is never going to be excluded. Just really the answer to people always telling you, when you get famous, don't forget us. I've been on the road for 30 years. I'll still come back to Oklahoma. So, or 30 years. But we decided to do it that way because, it's like I said, it's an event, and our fans, the effort that the guys that work hard to make this place viable, it would be a slap in the face not to, to just totally ignore them. And I say that not trying to be diplomatic about it. I would just, if I was in their position, hey, what about us? But it's not. It's hard for people to understand. The shoe's on the other foot. There, this is how grateful. We're never going to forget any of this, and we're never going to neglect any of it. So, we plan our events. We do our own events and everything. We plan them outside of the circuit that we're on with everybody in mind, and try to do exactly what they want us to do. Because after all, without everybody, this is pointless for us.
Right.
I just sit around in the bedroom and play all day long. And I don't, so what else am I going to do?
Lisa asked me a question.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, I have no idea about Rocklahoma. But if I do, I will post it on my Rocker Chic Bling page. I'll post it on there if I'm going. And man, I fly by the seat of the pants with my stuff, Lisa. If the guys get a show, usually they're nice enough to let me set up some jewelry with them. So Shotgun Rebellion, they'll always have some Rocker Chic Bling. Other than that, I can post you. I never know if I'm going to be around or if I'm going to feel like it. I have some health issues, so I never know if I'm going to set up my own table at an outside event. But I will keep a schedule posted on my personal page and on my Rocker Chic Bling page. I wish I could be more definite.
I'll share whatever she's posting on it, and she can always tell.
I'll always try to get you a couple weeks, but sometimes I get a spur of the moment invite and I go. But we'll keep you up to date, I promise.
What other events do you have coming up?
You'll have to ask my PA. I don't.
I also make jewelry
keeps
and I keep a schedule. I'm a secretary in my free time. They got an event at Margarita Island coming up. They're playing Tulsa.
What's the date on Margarita Island?
I have to put on my glasses and look.
I'm gonna
I
make you
gotta
look
put
at
on
the
my
schedule.
glasses and look.
We have been getting.
April
March
12th.
2nd, they're playing Enid at Swilly's in Enid. Shotgun Rebellion, March 2nd. March 16th, Atoka peeps. They're coming to Voodoo Lounge.
Woo!
April 5th is It's Tulsa, Big Ass Renee's in Tulsa on April 2nd. Down Bikers, Margarita Island. We're going to play with the boys from Down Bikers on April 12th. And then there's a bunch more, but they're further away.
So 2019 holds a lot more for Oklahoma for Shotgun Rebellion
than it has in a long time. They've already got.
We still got everything else, but we're.
And if you want to come out and party with us, I will definitely be at the 5th, unless somebody gets seriously ill or dies. I will be at the 5th at Oklahoma City Limits, and I will be there the 12th at Margarita Island.
So come hang out.
Yeah, come rock out with us.
We'll take some pictures. We'll take pictures with you.
We'll take pictures. We'll sell you merch. We'll make them sign some stuff for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
Now, Steve, what were some of your first musical influences?
Me personally?
Yes, you personally.
Oh, I think my earliest musical influences. Well, at the risk of dating myself here, I'm going to say that as far as playing guitar goes, it wasn't the same as what I was a fan of, you know. I mean, I played guitar when I first started playing guitar. I was pretty young, and I played mostly country and bluegrass, gospel stuff because, you know, I mean, I'm from Oklahoma, and that's where everybody's playing in church or whatever. But I listened to KELI out of Tulsa, which anybody who is old enough to remember that will know that it was all Ohio players, cool in the game, you know, yeah, it was all. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it to you, because I know you don't know this.
It was. She's not from Tulsa. Hey, the carnival had that cool ride with the music. What was it called?
The Himalaya.
The Himalaya. They always played
Bell's
the best music.
Bell's Amusement Park. Well,
any of them played the music around and around.
The big UFO building that was sitting behind the Himalaya, that was KELI.
Right.
That's why they played.
So their big rock music, it was my favorite ride. They called it a Himalaya some places, but any carnival, they would play that loud music as they rode it. That was KELI.
So, you know, I mean, it was P-Funk. It was, Ohio players, Stevie Wonder, Cool in the Gang, stuff like that.
Now, I know a lot of the bands you named off, but
yeah.
I didn't know the other information.
Well, it was because it's in a tiny town of Tulsa, Oklahoma. But as far as, as far as my playing goes, to this day, I can't foresee it being any different, no matter. People know me from a lot of different genres, and they see a lot of the influences. I have fans come up all the time telling me that you like this person, like that. I can tell, and it's always right, but it just really depends on, I've played with Outlaw Territory, which is a outlaw country band, played Moonshine Saints. Shotgun Rebellion now is kind of a Sabbath meets Leonard Skinner thing, and so everyone always assumes that it's going to be somebody like Eddie Van Halen, George Lynch, or Randy Rhoads, or Zakk Wylde, and those are all true. But if I had one guitar hero in the whole world, it's Jerry Reed. He's the one that once again, I'm dating myself, but I wasn't old enough to go see Smokey and the Bandit when it first came out, but I went anyway.
Right.
And, along with the 79 Trans Am, I fell totally in love with the soundtrack. And, was lucky enough to know Jerry Reed when he was still alive
Awesome.
through family members and stuff. So
the family was involved in music in many aspects.
Yeah, actually, my I've got relatives in it now. Leroy Parnell is my cousin. Probably one of the biggest people that has anything to do with Americana history at all. My uncle Keith Coleman was the lead fiddle player for Bob Wills and Texas Playboys, I was influenced by him a lot. I'm talking about way before I ever even picked up a guitar.
Yeah.
This is just.
That's a ways back. I remember my mom listening to some of that music.
I think I was about around 8 years old when he died. It was in the late 70s.
I wasn't here yet.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But
but the
my
world
mom
was in
listened
color.
to it.
Oh,
You know.
Yeah, I still have a bunch of old 78s. I have talking about, y'all were talking about vinyl earlier. I have a big collection of that, and it's mostly stuff like that, you know, Bob Wills or Hank Thompson. I have all kinds of pictures of my great uncle with Merle Haggard in the studio and things like that, you know. So, I mean, I was around all that. I've never been more of a fan of anything than I've always been a rock and roll, even way before I played it. You know, as a matter of fact, I'd played guitar for quite a while in my own mind, and then when I was about 14, I heard Eruption for the first time, and that changed me forever. It was like it did anybody else that was playing guitar at the time they heard that. So I found an excuse to cross over to what I was a fan of.
Never look back. You were talking about vinyl. Does Shotgun Rebellion have anything vinyl?
Well, you know, I think we're in the works on that. And what I was going to say about the vinyl, the reason why it's such a significant thing, I mean, I realize it's trendy and it's kind of a, you know,
making a comeback.
Yeah, but it is making a comeback. More that is significant to us and any musicians out there that are recording and selling right now that have a question about it. Here, I'll tell you my take on it. The genius in it is the fact that they have brought back a format that makes hard copy selling viable. It's because, I mean, you know, as everybody knows, the whole P2P thing that started in the 90s was the eventual death of selling music. And for years, we've all struggled on how to get our music out there and make it for sale until we finally come to the point that, look, it doesn't matter. Nobody buys hard copy music anymore. Just put it out there and
try to make the money off of the other merch.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why you hear guys like Dave Grohl will say things like, you know, it is essential for you to play live. If you have a band, you have to play live. I don't care. Well, you know, this is part of what he's talking about. But you know, the cassettes and the CDs went by the wayside, and it's all digital now. So the trend of everybody wanting to own vinyl has made selling hard copy music a thing again. And I think anybody who's trying to decide on whether to invest in that endeavor needs to consider those things. If they want to make an educated decision on what they're doing. So I'm all for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Steve, Lisa's got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Lisa wants to know, is Stevie Ray Vaughan, any Stevie Ray Vaughan influence for you?
Who hasn't it influenced? Yeah, he absolutely is, and his brother too, Jimmy as well. You know, guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix, for that matter, they were essential because they were changing the face of my specific instrument, much less the industry itself and the genres. They were influencing and making specific turns, and so I was taking those things as a kid and applying them to my own as far as making myself useful as a guitar player. It's not like anybody else plays guitar. I mean, everybody in the world does. So, you know, I mean, which makes it one of the hardest things for anybody in the music industry to do is to stand out amongst your peers, you know. So, yeah, I would say definitely Stevie Ray is one of the biggest influences on my development, because I was still developing style, even a sound at the time, tech. Plus, you know, I could watch him play all day long. So, absolutely, he was more than just an influence on my guitar playing.
So yes, Lisa.
So the short version is you bet.
Johnny Walker is popping off. But hi, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny. How do you decide on the cover art for your albums?
Well, what I do personally is call Rick and say, "Where are you going to put on the record?" Yeah. So you got any artwork for this?
Hey.
Yeah. But no, the real answer is, we as a band, we all just get together and just have a casual conversation about it until it turns in one direction. I mean, it always seems to end up as, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And then we'll get talking and we'll all land on a subject of, remember that so-and-so put out this one record and remember the cover of it? Oh yeah, we need to do something like that. And it just ends up being a big mashed up version of whatever we've been talking about and drinking about for the last couple of days.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it never fails us.
How does the writing of the music process go as far as who writes most of the lyrics, most of the instrumentation?
Well, did you say instrumentation?
Yeah, I did. Woo!
Well,
I told him they could watch our crazy.
Oh, baby.
That's a different show.
That's after dark. We save that for after dark.
That'll be the next show, right?
Well, I will say this. We're sitting on a mountain of great material that we haven't even gotten to yet. And I think mostly that just comes from having if I had to guess between the four members of the band, we've got at least 120 years of music experience. So, and probably that much in writing ourselves.
I think they equally all take part in songwriting because I get to watch. So they all come up with ideas and they share.
Sure.
And I think it's awesome.
Yeah. We're still on most of the stuff that we're doing right now is I won't say exclusively, but most large significant amount of it is
I'm getting called out on my coffee break.
Is war horses stuff, because that's where we're at in the process of. I mean, I've got hours and hours of stuff. Rick's got hours and hours of stuff. Johnny, Randy, everybody does. So you just kind of put it in a line and run down it, and that's. But as a band, yes, I'd say probably the most common thing that happens is one of us comes up with a riff, and then Johnny immediately nails it, and the song evolves from there, and it takes about 2 cuts to get what we're gonna get. I mean, but that's come from a lot of years of being after it.
Fine tuning the gears to
They make it
run smooth.
They make it look easy. They really do. I watched them and I just is like, it's amazing.
I don't have an opinion. I tell people, well, where are you, how you feel about this and that, and your guitar playing. I'm like, I don't listen to myself. I've literally heard every note I've ever played in my life. So I've long since given up on having an opinion about the way that I play. And that makes it easy for me to step out and view our band and listen to, because I'm a Rick Davis fan, I'm a Johnny Walker fan, I'm a Randy fan. And the band together, it just is what it is, and I'm a huge fan of it. So when I add my element to it, it's easy for me to I don't know. It's just real easy for me to click with these guys, just because I mean, it seems like most of the time they were just born to. This is why you're here. So it makes it easy for me to fall in it. Because if you think about it, if one person from this lineup that we had, and I know this to be a fact, just because if one person goes absent, people don't have to see it. It's immediately they're like, who's that? And since I've been back with these guys, me and Johnny and Rick started this a long time ago. And since I've been back with them, probably the number one thing I hear feedback from the fans is, this is the way it was supposed to be. This is what people are looking for when they hear Shotgun Rebellion, when they see Shotgun Rebellion. This is what, you know. Or I'll get, how could you leave? You know, stuff like that. And it's like, you know, as we were saying before, life happens sometimes. And, you know, and if it's meant to be, it'll come full circle. This is just a great example of what I always preach to people: is the universe unfolds as it should.
Yes.
I agree with that. Hey, Misty, you need to come out to the house when they're doing some rehearsing, and we could show our crazy from that. Because I know the peeps. We can show our crazy. If you come hang out with us, that would be fun.
I would love to do that and bring my camera and do some behind the
come
scenes.
chill with us, and we go live and we talk our crazy while they're trying to do it. They'll work and we'll have fun.
Well, that way you can trap the other three into talking.
Oh, that's right. We'll get the boys. You hear that? Misty's gonna come hang.
I'm gonna come hang and I'm gonna make you talk because you all know I love to talk. Who doesn't know that?
Yeah, I'll give you a call. So.
Now, something that most people may not realize unless they know you personally is that they do have a studio and that they do produce their own music.
We do.
With their studio. And Steve is also a studio musician. If somebody wanted to hire you to do studio musician, where do they find you?
Well,
they can call his PA.
Yeah.
I can hook you up with a schedule of when he's available to do something.
I stay booked up most of the time. And as far as around here goes, I mean, I'm friends with just about everybody. So if they need me to do something.
Well, there might be somebody from Nottingham in the area that's like, hey, can I send you a track? Can you add something to it?
You can get a hold of Dark Horse Studios in Nashville and ask me personally. It's pretty easy to do, but you know, back in the old days they used to have a catalog. It's not. Yeah. I think that's kind of just.
Is that outdated now?
Well, I think it is. I think people know most people when they are setting up session work or super session work, they pretty much know who they want and what they want to do. But if you're trying to get a hold of me personally, that way is the way to do it.
That works.
Dark Horse.
That works. How would you say that y'all came about playing together? How long ago was that? How did that happen?
Shotgun Rebellion.
Yeah, how did that happen that you formed the band?
Rick and I have been playing guitar since we were teenagers. I mean, it was several bands back before Shotgun Rebellion, you know, and I don't know.
What was yours and Rick's first band? The first one you were in?
I don't remember.
Oh, Rick's not listening. He's not watching Crazy with Misty and Amy.
I think it was Psy.
Psy. That is right. I think that is right. I might have been around.
We had Psy. We had Felony. Golly, we had Teaser.
Teaser, Shawnee Peeps, remember that?
Yeah, Mike Myers, it was me and Rick Davis and Mike Myers and Ty Gay.
Right. Oh my God, I know everybody.
She knows those names.
Yeah.
You didn't know they had a band.
Yeah, this was
I know everybody who just called. I know Ty.
Yeah.
Well, and it's important to know that those.
My younger brother learned martial arts from Ty when he was a teenager.
Oh wow!
So, yeah.
You're telling the secret lives of rock stars. Now we're going to secret lives of rock stars.
I didn't know that was a secret.
Well, that's gonna be our next show. We could do another one called The Secret Lives.
Well, I didn't know it was, and the ironic part was, I had actually seen him up there. My younger brother had gone to training, and his hair was pulled back. It just didn't register to me.
Didn't look like Ty, did it?
Yeah, and then I had been listening to his music. I'd seen him on stage. I'd seen a few live shows. And my younger brother did one day. I was watching, I was playing on my Facebook, and I was like sharing something. My little brother says, "That was my martial arts trainer."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
awesome.
"Oh, my bad."
Well, I mean, it's a lot of fun to go back and name all those and put them in chronological order, because you start to realize the networking that happens in a place like Oklahoma City. Because after Rick and I left, Teaser and Ty, then me and Ty joined a band called Cry Freedom, which was
Questionable photo, CD cover. I know it. You're watching all those pictures.
Cry Freedom included guys like E-Rock, Eric Wise,
Yeah.
E-Rock from Super Pimp, you know.
Yeah.
Pink Elephant, my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
I mean, you know, and if you go back and do that, you can see how you'd be hard pressed to find guys that haven't stood on stage together at least once around. So
And
it is.
If you're out in the music scene, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that one of us doesn't know.
We know everyone.
Most of the people, I think, you know, like every band you're mentioning off, I'm like, I know that, I know everybody.
I think we
You
have
know,
a view.
I think that is one of the. I know. I've heard some people say, well, Oklahoma is a small state, especially in comparison to like Illinois or California. And the population is definitely smaller than those type states. But I think one of the awesome aspects of that is that we do know kind of everybody in the area.
It is a turnstile for the whole circuit. And I'll say this. I mean, you know, I've played all 50 states 1,000 times in my whole time, and I'm still up until just very recently have been a active road musician. And I will say this for Oklahoma as well. I've seen a lot of just amazing talent in my travels. Just some people just blow my mind every day. And I will say that there is no place in or out of the United States that I've ever been that has a bigger collection of great talent than this state right here. And it makes sense because, you know, I mean, as you float and you gravitate towards anything, Oklahoma's going to end up being a turnstile for something.
They're in the middle.
That's you know, that's why it makes sense. And then also Oklahoma's so viable because Texas is so important to pop culture when it comes to music, especially. So you're right next door. I mean, it just makes so.
We got people. We got Tracy Lynn. Is she from Canada? Do we have people from Canada?
Tracy Lynn.
Tracy
Lynn is with The Reckoning.
Oh yeah.
They are a punk metal band out of Canada. She has so much going on. I can't wait to be able to sit down and have an interview with her. We're looking at interviewing in the future. So.
Well, thanks for watching our crazy, Tracy. I think we're about ready to wrap it up.
Well, if you're done with me, I'll get out of here.
Well, I appreciate it. Before I let you run off, okay, tell everybody where they can get your music.
There's probably a shorter list of places you won't find it.
They have a Pandora station.
Pandora station.
CD Baby.
iTunes,
Reverb Nation.
iTunes, Reverb Nation.
Spotify,
YouTube. There's just wherever you're at, just put Shotgun Rebellion. You'll find us. I guarantee it.
Awesome.
Follow their schedule on Facebook Reverb Nation, and I think they do.
Yeah. Well, we have several subsidiaries of the LLC. We have, you know, but Shotgun Rebellion is probably as far as Facebook goes, or just our band page, our event page, probably the best place to keep up with most of our.
Awesome.
And then you've got little offshoots like Gunner Babes and things like that. That you can get.
Well, Misty,
I'm a bad liaison for that because I don't even know all the resources we have.
I'm going to add some links after we're done.
Yes, please. I would love to have links to the merch,
stuff.
the different places you can go to find the music. Your
Rocker Chic Bling.
Yeah.
I got you. We'll send some links. Thanks for chilling
so
today.
much.
Thanks for talking.
Love you
I
guys.
have fun. We'll have to do it again.
I will see y'all April 5th, and I will probably, if Amy gets with me, see y'all before that.
Yeah, we will. We'll do. We could do crazy music. We had fun. This was fun. I had a blast. This is my first time, but I had a great time. We'll do it again.
More interviews
That's
together.
right. We'll do it. We did a good job. Thanks, guys.
We love you guys. Peace out.
Yeah, I was like, there's somebody from